That was the only name anyone could give to the drama happening inside the 42-story glass tower in Victoria Island that night. The party had barely started when a drunk socialite screamed, "Who unplugged my wig charger?" And two other ladies started dragging each other over a billionaire's attention. Security was confused. Guests were laughing. People were recording. It was sweet madness. Right at the centre of it all stood Leonardo Blake, the man Lagos gossip blogs had unofficially crowned the king of soft life. 34 years old, richer than the sand of the sea, and proud owner of the penthouse that overlooked the entire island, as if he personally built the city brick by brick. He stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows with a glass of premium whiskey, looking down at the city like someone checking his properties from a drone. If ego had weight, his own would need a forklift. Leo wasn't born rich, but he climbed up the business world like he had ladders hidden in his DNA. Ruthless deals, sharp tongue, and a confidence so unshakable that even storms would shift for him. Money came, power came, women came, all voluntarily, all happily, all like package delivery. Tonight was supposed to be a simple celebration for yet another merger that made him even wealthier. But Lagos parties don't do simple. Guests trooped around with champagne glasses. Beautiful ladies in glittering gowns pretended to laugh at jokes that weren't funny. Influencers posed with ring lights they dragged from home. Musicians tried to impress him with new singles. Even the man who arranged the chairs came dressed like he was expecting a Grammy. Leo walked through the crowd like Moses parting the Red Sea. People stepped back, smiling too hard, hoping he'd notice them. He barely looked. His vibe was, "I know I'm the main event. I don't need to announce it." Then came the voice. "Leo, my guy! So this is how you will just be rich and be forming serious man everywhere." Leo didn't need to turn. Only one person had the audacity to talk to him like that at his own party. Derek Holt, his childhood friend, his biggest competitor. A man who could shake the entire tech industry with a single tweet. And the only human being alive who could insult Leo without being escorted out by security. Leo sighed playfully. "Derek, if you're here, that means trouble is near." Derek grinned like someone who came with a full bag of Wahala. They had competed since university. Grades, athletics, business pitches, women, even who had the finer beard. Their friendship was built on love, hate, respect, and silent threats. "Nice party," Derek said, eyeing the chaotic crowd. "Very peaceful. Only 2 wigs have flown this night. Improvement." "Say what you came to say," Leo replied, sipping his drink. Derek leaned in, lowering his voice, but making sure those around them could still overhear. He liked drama. "You and I have battled over everything in this life, except one." Leo raised a brow. "What's that?" "Marriage." The DJ mistakenly scratched the music. Someone dropped a glass. A lady gasped. Even the air paused. Leo blinked. "Marriage key?" "Me? You're mad." Derek laughed. "Exactly. You can close business deals like magic, but you can't survive living with one woman for 6 months. Guests nearby turned fully, ears opened, phones subtly tilted for recording. Lagos people love gist. Leo dropped his drink. "What kind of stupid challenge is that?" "A profitable one," Derek replied as he pulled out his phone and flashed a number on the screen. Leo froze. Even for a billionaire, that number had weight. $5 million, Derek said casually. Leo's nostrils flared. "5 million? Is it my kidney you want to buy?" "No, just your pride and your peace of mind and maybe your sanity," Leo scoffed. "Marriage for 6 months? Living together? No escape plan? No separate rooms?" "Exactly. Full husband and wife package." Leo looked around. People were watching, some smirking, some praying he would accept. Some streaming the moment live on TikTok. Derek added fuel. "But if you refuse, I'll tell everyone that Leonardo Blake, the lion of Lagos business, is afraid of one small marriage." Leo burst into laughter, that proud, expensive, arrogant laugh. "Afraid? Me? Of what? Woman? Abeg shift." "So you accept?" Leo straightened, rolled his shoulders like a fighter entering the ring. "I accept. 6 months. I'll finish this challenge and frame the certificate." Derek's grin widened like an evil spirit had possessed him. "Fantastic, because I already have the woman picked." Leo frowned. "Who?" Derek tapped his phone, smirking. "Her name is Mercedes Brooks." Leo paused. The air changed. Someone in the background whispered, "Who be that?" Another murmured, Drama Don's start." And indeed, drama had only just begun. 3 days after the madness at the penthouse, Leonardo Blake sat inside Lagoon Crest Cafe, one of those upscale Victoria Island spots where the cheapest thing was water. And even the water came with attitude. He sat near the glass window wearing a navy blue suit that could pay someone's rent for a full year. He wasn't nervous. Billionaires don't get nervous, at least that was the lie he told himself. He kept tapping his finger against the table, impatient, irritated, and pretending he wasn't. Derek Holt had sent him one photo and a short, really neat description. Confident, doesn't rate rich people, social worker, independent, doesn't care for luxury. Leo read it and hissed. "What kind of character development assignment is this?" he had muttered. The picture showed a full-figured woman with warm eyes and a real smile, not those Instagram-filtered smiles that look like the person borrowed teeth. Leo stared at the picture for 5 seconds, shrugged and closed it. To him, this whole thing was just a contract. A task, a game he intended to win. Simple, until she walked in. When Mercedes Brooks stepped into the cafe, the whole building rearranged itself. Not physically, but emotionally. Because something about her presence made it look like everyone else was doing too much. She's at least twice size of Leonardo himself in size. She wasn't wearing designer brands. She wasn't trying to tiptoe like a model on a runway. She didn't scan the place to see who was watching her. She just entered, like someone who had genuinely come to drink coffee, not pose for it. Her grey dress was simple but elegant. Her hair was packed in a neat bun. Her steps were firm, natural, unbothered. She looked like the type of woman who knew exactly who she was and didn't need approval from anybody. Especially not a billionaire with excessive confidence. She spotted Leo instantly and walked toward him with purpose. "You're Leonardo Blake, right?" she said, extending her hand before he even stood. Her voice was calm but held a strength people didn't usually bring when talking to Leo. "And you must be Mercedes Brooks," he replied, taking her hand. Her handshake was firm. Not polite firm, firm, the kind that said, "I'm not here to form timid for you." She sat before he told her to. The audacity shocked him a bit. Mercedes starts the meeting with graceful violence. "Okay," she began, folding her arms, "let's just address the elephant-eating puff in the room." Leo blinked. "The what?" "I know about the bet," she said. "Derek told me everything, how he dared you to marry someone who doesn't fit your normal spec, how you agreed because your ego cannot breathe unless it's being fed, how you think this will be a smooth 6-month cruise." She said it so plainly, Leo felt like someone had put pepper in his chest. "You know all that?" "Yes." "And you still came?" "Yes." "Why?" he asked, leaning forward. For a moment her expression softened. There was something behind her eyes, a shadow he couldn't name. "Let's just say I have my reasons," she replied quietly. "And they're not up for discussion." Leo didn't like that answer. He liked to know everything. He liked information the way Nigerians like gossip, hot, detailed, and with screenshots. But Mercedes wasn't giving him anything. "So?" Leo said, regaining his confidence. "You're willing to do this? 6 months of marriage?" Mercedes nodded but raised one finger, like a teacher correcting a troublesome student. "Under conditions." "Let's hear it." 1, I need my own space inside your home. I'm not sharing a room with you because this is not a honeymoon, it's a contract. Fine. 2, I will continue my job. I don't care if you make $1 billion every day. My work matters to me. Okay. 3, I want respect. You don't need to love me, don't need to adore me, but you will treat me like a human being, not a project you're managing. Leo exhaled. Done. Anything else? Yes, she said, locking eyes with him. Don't try to change me. I'm not going to turn into one of your fancy women who wear glittering dresses and laugh at dry jokes. I'm Mercedes. I'll remain Mercedes, even with your ring on my finger. Leo paused. That one touched him deeper than he expected. I wouldn't dream of it, he lied gently. Their second meeting happened at Leo's lawyer's office. Cold, neat, smelling of money and tension. Mercedes read every page of the prenuptial agreement like someone marking Weiyi scripts. She asked sharp questions. She didn't tremble or smile nervously. She didn't pretend to be shy. She signed the papers with quiet confidence. Leo almost admired her. Almost. We're getting married next week, he told her. Small ceremony. Nothing dramatic. Mercedes chuckled. Of course, Leonardo Blake, the man who schedules his emotions as appointments. He sighed. It's worked well for me so far. She stopped and faced him. Let me warn you, Leo. I'm not one of your mergers, and I'm not a competitor for you to outsmart either. These 6 months will teach you something. Leo crossed his arms. Which is, that not everything can be won, she said softly. Some things must be earned. He didn't answer, because something in his chest shifted slightly. 1 week later, in a small courthouse in Victoria Island, they became husband and wife. No bouquet, no kisses, no music, just papers, signatures, and Derek standing behind them with a grin that screamed, "Drama! Drama! Drama!" When the judge declared them married, Leo didn't even blink. Mercedes simply nodded. Derek whispered, "Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Blake. Can't wait for the tornado ahead." Leo nearly punched him. The drive home was quiet. Mercedes stared out the window the whole time while Leo occasionally glanced at her, confused by her silence and irritated that he cared. When they stepped into the penthouse, Mercedes paused. The place was huge. Marble floors, massive chandeliers, artworks that cost more than some people's houses. "It's very you," she finally said. "Is that a compliment?" Leo asked. "It's an observation." He showed her the room he prepared, a private suite with its own sitting area and balcony. "This is your space," he said. Mercedes stood at the doorway. 6 months, Leo. Not a day extra. 6 months, he echoed, and the cohabitation began. The first weeks. Leo expected her to bend to his lifestyle in days. Instead, she did the opposite. Offer her jewellery? She'd smile and decline. Give someone else, I don't do gold digging. Invite her to fashion boutiques. I have more clothes than your ego can handle. Invite her to high society events. Enjoy. I'll be home. She worked every day at the community centre and came back looking drained, not physically, but emotionally. Leo began noticing things he hadn't planned to notice. She often skipped dinner. She avoided expensive restaurants. She sat on her balcony at night, staring at the city with eyes filled with stories she refused to tell. And for the first time in a long time, Leonardo Blake found himself concerned and irritated that he was concerned, because Mercedes Brooks was becoming a mystery he couldn't solve, and Leo hated unsolved things. Evening breeze from the Atlantic was already minding its business when Leonardo Blake returned home unusually early. His penthouse on Victoria Island was quiet. Too quiet. Abnormally quiet. The kind of quiet that makes a billionaire start suspecting life itself. As Leo walked down the hallway, he heard Mercedes' voice filtering out through her half-open door. Her tone was soft, almost fragile, very unlike the sharp-tongued, sarcastic Mercedes who had been giving him premium stress for weeks. He froze. "Yes, Mum. I'm being careful," she whispered. A pause. "Yes, I'm still taking my medication." "No, he doesn't know anything." "Why should he? It's just 6 months now. After that, everything goes back to normal." Medication, 6 months? Back to normal? Leonardo blinked twice. Normal as in... What? 6 months as in? His 6 months? Medication as in, what kind? Panadol Extra or something more spiritually concerning? He should walk away. He absolutely should. But did he move? No. He rooted there like a CCTV camera with emotions. For the first time, Victoria Island's oxygen tasted different, like confusion mixed with heartbreak and a sprinkle of pepper. From that night forward, tension became their fourth roommate. Every argument was a battle of sarcasm and stubbornness. "Why won't you just let me in?" Leo asked one night, hands spread in frustration. "Why are you acting like I'm your landlord and not your husband?" Mercedes hissed the way only a Nigerian woman can hiss, like she was removing him from her blood pressure. "Husband? A beg shift," she fired back. "You live in a world where money solves everything. If your phone battery dies, you'll probably send someone to buy new electricity." Leo opened his mouth to respond, but closed it again. She wasn't lying. "Try me, Mercedes," Leo said, voice lower, almost vulnerable. "Maybe I'm not as shallow as you think." Mercedes stared at him for a long, heavy moment. Something soft flickered in her eyes, then died just as quickly. "You're not shallow," she murmured. "That doesn't change anything." And she walked away, leaving Leonardo standing there looking like someone who misplaced his destiny. From that day onwards, Leo starts seeing things he can't explain. The more he watched her, the more he noticed worrying things. Mercedes gripping the kitchen counter like the spirit of dizziness was choking her. Mercedes pausing and breathing like she was fighting invisible pressure. Mercedes pressing her chest with a flash of pain before quickly pretending everything was fine. "Are you okay?" he asked once. She waved him off. "Relax, Leo, it's just muscle pull." Muscle pull? Leo knew a lie when he heard one. Then, 3 months into the arrangement, Leo dragged her to a charity gala on Victoria Island. "It's good for my public image," he argued. Mercedes eventually agreed, but she refused every designer gown he sent. Instead, she wore a simple red dress she had owned long before Leo's stress entered her life. Her hair was packed in a neat bun, minimal makeup, maximum elegance, and Leo, annoyingly, found her beautiful. The hotel was overflowing with Lagos elites, fake accents, fake friendships, and real gossip. Leo mingled effortlessly because being rich is a language on its own. Mercedes stood beside him, calm, watching everything like a documentary narrator. Then he heard it. A bunch of surgically assembled Instagram-filtered women whispering loudly, "That's Leonardo Blake's wife? But she's..." Huge gnaw. "Is it charity work he's doing or what? I heard it's a bet, Seth. If Nami, I cannot come and be suffering." Their laughter was sharp and wicked, like Lagos traffic conductors insulting each other. Leo felt heat crawl up his spine. He turned just in time to see Mercedes' smile flicker and fade. Her hand trembled as she set down her glass. Then she whispered, "Excuse me," and tried to walk away. Leo caught her hand. "No," he murmured. "Don't give them the satisfaction." He stepped forward, the room silencing itself. "Ladies," he said loudly, "since your voices are louder than your manners, let me clear something up." People froze. Glass paused mid-air. A waiter stopped pouring champagne. Leo pulled Mercedes close by the waist. "My wife," he said slowly, "is worth more than everyone here, combined. She actually helps people who need help, not people who need validation." He scanned the crowd dramatically. "And if anyone here has a problem with her size, her class, or her existence, please feel free to exit my eyesight immediately." The whole room swallowed its tongue. Even the band stopped playing small chops music. Mercedes stared at Leo like he was suddenly made of gold. Leo took her hand. "We're leaving." And just like that, they walked out. Drama, dignity, and silence following behind them. Outside, under the Lagos skyline, she whispered, "You didn't have to do that." "Oh, I did," Leo replied softly. Nobody insults my wife. Your wife for 6 months," she corrected. But her voice, it was shaky, soft, wounded. Leo looked at her and he knew. He was gone. Doomed. Finished emotionally. Because he didn't want 6 months anymore. He wanted forever. But before he could say anything, she pressed a trembling finger to his lips. "Don't say what you'll regret. Take me home." The drive home was silent, but once they entered the penthouse, everything fell apart. Mercedes took 3 steps into the living room. Then her knees buckled, her eyes rolled back. She gasped like the air had betrayed her. "Mercedes!" Leo lunged, catching her before she hit the floor. Her body was too still, her skin too cold, her breathing shallow. "Stay with me," he whispered, voice shaking. "Look at me. Mercedes!" Her eyes fluttered weakly. "Leo, don't talk," he begged. His hands trembled as he dialed 911. "I need an ambulance, now!" My wife collapsed. "We're at Blake Towers, Victoria Island." He didn't even realize he said my wife like he meant it until the paramedic asked, "Sir, are you family?" Leo's voice cracked. "I'm her husband." And this time, the words felt painfully, terrifyingly true. The drive to St. Gregory Specialist Hospital, Victoria Island, felt like somebody was tearing out Leonardo Blake's chest with pliers, and for the first time in his entire spoilt rich boy existence, nothing, not money, not power, not his expensive surname, could fix how useless he felt. He paced the hospital corridor like a Lagos lion that mistakenly entered CMS Market, confused and angry at the same time. His Italian shoes were already complaining from overuse, but he didn't care. "How person go just faint like that?" he muttered to himself, dragging his hand through his hair. "God, I beg, oh, this is not the time to punish me for my bad love life." 30 minutes later, Derek Holt rushed in wearing slippers, singlet, and an unbuttoned senator top. He looked like somebody's security dragged out of bed. "Leo, where is she? What happened? Why are you sweating like pure water cellar?" Derek rattled. Leonardo shot him a glare. "If you say one more nonsense word, I'll fling you out the window." Derek zipped his lips immediately. Even demons know when to keep quiet. Leo tried calling Mercedes' mother again, but all the old woman's numbers were either switched off or not reachable. Typical Nigerian mothers who only answer calls when they need something. He felt helpless for the first time in his charmed billionaire life. Then finally, A female doctor stepped out, a very calm, very composed woman with tiny glasses and the kind of face that made you instantly afraid of bad news. "Mr. Blake? Yes, that's me!" Leonardo practically jumped at her. "I'm Dr. Amina Lawson. I've been attending to Mrs. Blake." Leonardo blinked. Hearing that name, Mrs. Blake, hit him in the chest. "How is she? Is she okay? What happened? Should I call a pastor?" He fired rapidly. The doctor gave him the classic Nigerian hospital look that said, "Ogre, calm down before you run mad." "Mr. Blake, please step aside so we can talk privately." He followed her to a corner. Derek remained behind, whispering prayers like a man who lost the exam timetable. "Doctor," Lawson adjusted her glasses and sighed. "Your wife has been living with severe hypertension and early-stage heart disease. Her heart is under heavy strain." Leonardo felt the world tilt. Hypertension? Heart disease? Mercedes? No, doctor, maybe it's another patient. The one I brought is stubborn, sarcastic, and annoyingly private, but sick. She didn't even cough near me." Dr. Lawson continued calmly. "She has been on medication. According to her record, she was diagnosed about 9 months ago." Leonardo froze. 9 months. Before the bet. Before she even agreed to marry him. Before he even opened his useless mouth the day he said, "I beg marry me. Let's disgrace Derek." Everything suddenly made horrible sense. Her secretive nature, her distance, her insistence on only 6 months. "Doctor, can I see her?" Leo whispered. "She's awake, room 204. Leonardo didn't remember walking there. He didn't feel his feet touch the floor. He just appeared in room 204 like the spirit of heartbreak. Mercedes lay on the hospital bed, small, fragile, nothing like the fierce woman who always insulted him freely at home. When she looked up and saw him, she gave a tiny smile. "You look like somebody owe you money." "Mercedes." Leonardo's voice cracked. She sighed. "I guess the secret escaped." He sat beside her bed, his chest tightening. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked quietly. She stared at the ceiling. "Tell you for what? So that you'd feel sorry for me like one charity project? Leonardo, please. I didn't want your pity." He swallowed hard. "It's not pity." Mercedes scoffed. "A beg shift. You married me to win a stupid bet. 6 months and everything ends. My health issues weren't part of your billionaire contract." Leonardo rubbed his face with both hands. "Mercedes, stop saying rubbish. If I had known..." "What would you have done?" she snapped. "Bought me a new heart, hired angels, sent the sickness to your enemies? Leonardo, some things are not for sale." Her voice shook. His heart shattered. She finally looked at him, tearful, exhausted, defeated. "I just wanted... just 6 months where I wasn't alone. 6 months to feel like maybe someone cared, even if it was fake." He reached for her hand. She tried to pull away, but he held it firmly. "You're not alone," Leonardo said, voice shaking. "Not anymore." "You're leaving in 3 months," she whispered. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. She blinked. "Why are you saying all this?" "Because," he inhaled. "Mercedes, I care about you too much, and I'm not letting you fight this alone." She stared at him, her eyes filling again. "You care?" "Deeply," Leonardo said, "and if you allow me, I'll prove it." Silence. Then, very softly, "Okay." He pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead, and she closed her eyes like she finally believed him. The next morning, Dr. Lawson came in with a full treatment plan: lifestyle changes, medication, diet, exercise. It won't be easy, she warned, but with strong support she can recover. Before Mercedes could speak, Leo said, "We'll do everything necessary." The doctor smiled. "That's the attitude she needs." After she left, Mercedes eyed him suspiciously. "Leonardo, you don't have to." "Mercedes," he cut in, "if you argue with me again, I'll carry you on my head to the gym." She burst into weak laughter. 3 days later, when they returned to the penthouse, Mercedes gasped. Leo had transformed the entire house. No more junk food. The fridge was filled with fruits and vegetables. A private chef, nutritionist, and fitness coach were waiting. Derek even stood at the door holding a whistle like a confused PE teacher. "Welcome to Camp Blake," Derek announced proudly. "Here we burn fat, not vibes." Mercedes glared. "If you don't shift from that door, I will use this IV needle to rearrange your destiny." Derek ran. Leonardo smiled at her. "This is your new beginning, and I'm walking it with you." The first training day. They woke at 5 a.m. Mercedes complained from the first minute. "Why am I awake before my ancestors?" "Because we are fighting for your life," Leo replied. They walked around the estate. Mercedes barely made it halfway. I can't do this, she panted. Yes, you can, Leonardo said, lifting her chin gently. You're stronger than you think, and you're not doing this alone. Her eyes glistened. Leo, why are you really doing this? He cupped her face. Because I love you, Mercedes Brooks. Not the version I assumed. Not the woman from a contract. You, exactly as you are, her breath caught. You love me, she whispered, with my whole stubborn, arrogant billionaire heart. She leaned in slowly and kissed him. A soft, tentative kiss filled with hope. When they separated, the sun was just rising over Victoria Island. For the first time, Mercedes Brooks smiled like someone who believed in tomorrow. The weeks that followed felt like a waking battle for Mercedes. Let nobody deceive you. Changing lifestyle is not beans. The new diet Leonardo dragged her into. Sometimes she would stare at her plate of grilled fish and vegetables like the food personally offended her ancestors. Some days she cried. Some days she hissed at Leonardo for breathing too loudly. Some days she sat on the kitchen floor with her head in her hands, whispering, "Why me? Why now? Why this salad?" But to everyone's shock, Leonardo Blake, Lagos's premium stubborn billionaire, became her shadow. This was the same man who used to wake up at noon, stretch like a spoilt cat, and order brunch from VS restaurants without checking the price. Now, 5 a.m. sharp, alarms screaming, Leo screaming louder, Mercedes groaning like someone's generator on low fuel. Every morning, they jogged together around Echo Atlantic. Well, Mercedes walked. Leo jogged. And Leo still pretended not to notice when Mercedes suddenly stopped to tie her laces. Laces that were already double knotted. But he never complained. He held her hand when her legs shook. He cooked with her, ate what she ate, and even joined her yoga sessions, though he fell down like an overfed goat the first time he tried a stretch. At night, they cooked healthy recipes together. The first time they attempted cauliflower rice, Mercedes said, "Leo, this thing tastes like poverty." Leo burst into laughter. These little moments, the chaos, the laughter, the tears. They stitched them together like thread and fabric. The glow up. 4 months, 1 week into their contract marriage, Leo decided to take Mercedes to a charity gala, the same kind of event where those Lagos high society women once mocked her like their tongues were factory-produced for gossip. Mercedes stepped into the ballroom wearing a gorgeous gold-coloured dress that hugged her new shape beautifully. 30 pounds down, confidence up. Heart brighter than VI streetlights. People stared, some in shock, some jealous, some pretending to be angels as they walked up saying, "Wow, you look amazing now." And Mercedes, with sweet but sharp grace, replied, "Thank you. I looked amazing then too. You just didn't have the eyes." Leo nearly choked on his champagne. "My girl," he whispered, proud like he birthed her himself. When they danced, she leaned into him and said softly, "I'm proud of myself." "I'm proud of you too," he whispered, pulling her closer, and for the first time it truly felt like they were not pretending. Just as life began to sweet like a jiggy bread and butter, reality showed face. One Thursday afternoon, Leo returned home early and heard nothing. No humming, no footsteps, no kitchen sounds. Silence. Too much silence. He rushed toward the bedroom, opened the bathroom door, and found Mercedes collapsed on the tiles. Her skin was pale, her breathing shallow, her hands cold. Leo froze. Then panic struck with full force. "Mercedes, baby, stay with me!" He lifted her into his arms, shouting for the driver, shouting at traffic, shouting at the universe. Back at the hospital, the same one where he first discovered the truth, he paced like someone possessed. His heart was pounding like a talking drum. Dr. Lawson came out again, and Leo nearly grabbed her shoulders. "Just tell me," he whispered, voice shaking, ready for bad news. Dr. Lawson blinked, then broke into a smile. "She's fine, Mr. Blake, better than fine." Leo blinked. "What?" "She collapsed from exhaustion and low blood sugar, but the full tests show her heart is stronger. Her blood pressure has improved remarkably. She's lost over 50 pounds. In fact, she's getting healthier." Leo lowered himself into a chair like his legs forgot how to leg. Then he covered his face and cried, loudly, shamelessly, beautifully. When they let him into her room, Mercedes looked up with weak eyes. "I scared you, didn't I?" Leo didn't respond. He kissed her instead. You're going to be okay," he whispered. "Dr. Lawson said you're improving, you're winning, you're fighting, and I'm proud of you." "So proud," Mercedes burst into tears. "One quiet evening at the hospital," Mercedes whispered, Leo, the 6 months end next week. Leo stiffened. She looked nervous. So what happens now? Leo held her hand, then took a deep breath, then said, now you marry me again. For real? No bet, no contract. No expiry date. Mercedes blinked. In a hospital room? Seriously, Leo laughed softly. I'm proposing everywhere until you agree. Then he knelt beside her bed. Mercedes Brooks, you changed me. You taught me what matters. You showed me real love. I want to spend the rest of my life proving that I love you too. I love you too. Will you marry me properly this time? Her sobs filled the room. Yes, yes, Leonardo, I will. Leo kissed her again, this time tasting hope, joy, and a future. 6 months after their fake marriage, they had a real one. A small ceremony in the beautiful garden behind the community centre where Mercedes once volunteered. Her family came. His family came. Derek Holt, the same idiot who started the bet, stood as best man and admitted, Omo, my friend lost the bet, but at least I helped this, my stubborn friend, find love. Mercedes looked like a queen in her gown, glowing not because she was slimmer, but because she was healthier. Happier, alive. When the minister asked, does anyone object? Everyone burst into laughter. Who won object true love? Their first dance was slow, warm and intimate. What are you thinking about? Mercedes whispered against Leo's chest. I'm thinking, I made the best bet of my life, Leo said. But you lost, she teased. No, he whispered, kissing her forehead. I won you. I won us. Mercedes smiled. We both won, Leo. We both won, he agreed. After their real wedding, Mercedes kept improving. More weight loss, more strength, more health, more joy. Together they built a life in Victoria Island filled with sunrise walks, hide and seek in the kitchen, shared meals, shared dreams, shared love. And for once in Leonardo Blake's life, he realised winning by money was nothing. Winning by love? That was the jackpot. 15 months later, Leo was again in the hospital, wondering at what his life had become. If anyone had told Leonardo Blake, the same Leo that once bragged he could never settle down, that one day he would be pacing around a maternity ward like a confused security guard on night duty, he would have laughed, or worse, poured his expensive champagne on their head. But life has a funny way of humbling people. And today, Leo was being humbled beautifully. He didn't remember his status as screamed, Doctor! Doctor! Are you people sure my wife is okay? Check her again! Check her again, Leo shouted as if he paid the hospital rent. Mr. Blake, the nurse said, adjusting her glasses dramatically, if you disturb us one more time, we will discharge you, not your wife, you. Even in her pain, Mercedes Brooks burst into laughter. Leo, calm down. I'm not dying. I'm pushing out human beings, she said, breathless but smiling. 2 human beings, Leo corrected her proudly, raising 2 fingers like a goalkeeper declaring victory. 1 boy and 1 girl. Do you know how hard it is to produce perfect balance? The doctor shook her head. Sir, this is a delivery room, not a comedy show. But Leo didn't care. His heart was racing like a Danfo bus avoiding Lastma. Minutes later, 2 cries filled the room. 1 deep, 1 tiny. His son arrived first, loud, strong, and already frowning like he was judging the whole world. His daughter came second, petite, elegant, making soft noises like she was clearing her throat politely. Leo froze. Mercedes cried. The nurses grinned like they were witnessing a movie premiere. Then Leo whispered, voice breaking, Babe, we made them. We created human beings. We're like small, small gods. Mercedes laughed so hard she nearly choked. Leo, please, respect yourself. He carried the twins, looking from one to the other like he had just won 2 jackpots. My son will be called Liam because he already behaves like a leader. And my daughter will be called Liana because she looks like she's here to rule all of us. Mercedes nodded. And together they will destroy your bank account, Leo gasped. What do babies need money for? Diapers and formula, Mercedes replied. Leo clutched his heart. Lord, these children are expensive already. Their home in Victoria Island transformed from a billionaire bachelor's mansion to a chaotic baby haven. No more sleek, quiet halls, no more all-white interior, no more glass tables without fingerprints. Instead, baby bottles decorated the marble counters. Liana cried with small, fine girl entitlement. Liam kicked everything like he was training for Olympics. And Leo now strutted around wearing baby carriers and burping cloths like fashion accessories. Mercedes, he yelled one morning, your son has poured milk on me. Mercedes raised an eyebrow. Our son Leonardo. Our, Leo nodded, sighing dramatically. Yes, yes, but your half is very stubborn. When Mercedes regained her strength, she shocked Leo with a proposal. Leo, I want to build something, a foundation for people who have lost hope like I once did. Leo blinked. You mean like financially? Yes, she smiled softly. Financially, emotionally, physically, a place for people ready to give up on life. Leo's chest tightened. He remembered how he almost lost her twice, how she fought harder than anyone he had ever met, how she rose from depression, health struggles, insecurity, and taught him how he held her hand. Name it. Mercedes smiled. The Rise Again initiative. A home for people who think life has finished with them, Leo added softly. A home for people who need someone to believe in them. They launched it with tears in their eyes and twins in their arms. And surprisingly, Liam didn't cry throughout the ceremony. Liana, on the other hand, slept peacefully like a baby princess. The crowd loved them. The press praised them. People cried with them. And when a journalist asked Leo how it felt to help people start life again, he said, "Madam, look at my wife. Look at our twins. If these people didn't give up on me, then nobody should give up on themselves." Mercedes squeezed his hand proudly and whispered, "You are my world." So their home filled with love. Their foundation filled with hope. Their marriage, a beautiful blend of humour, chaos, and deep affection. Late at night, Leo would watch Mercedes sleeping, twins lying between them like tiny dictators controlling their entire schedule, and he'd whisper to himself, "This is the real win, not the bet, not the money, this family." Mercedes would open one eye sleepily and whisper back, "Stop talking to yourself, Leo. Come and sleep." Hello, besties. Thank you for staying with me through this emotional, dramatic, Wahala-filled love journey of Leonardo and Mercedes. If your heart is still beating fast, don't worry, mine is too. Moral lessons? Sometimes the biggest blessings come from the most unexpected places, even from a foolish bet. Love is not built on perfection, it's built on patience, sacrifice, humility, and small daily choices. Never write yourself off. You can fall today and still rise tomorrow, higher, stronger, and more beautiful than before. A good partner will not only love you, they will grow with you. And besties, never forget, your story is not over until God says it's over. If you enjoyed this story, I beg, don't run away like that-o. Like the video, drop your sweet comments, and share it with someone who needs hope today. And most importantly, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and sit tight for the next thrilling story. Love you all. Bye.